Hello and welcome back, YouTubers. I am Protomario, and today we are reviewing Advance Wars for the Game Boy Advance. Now, Advance Wars was quite a excellent strategic, well, I don't really know how to describe it. How about we call it a turn-based tactics kind of game. It was developed for the Game Boy Advance by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo in 2001. It was released in the USA September 10th, 2001, but put on hold in Japan and Europe due to the following day's terrorist attacks in the USA. If you do recall that, that was September 11th, 2001. It was released the day before that. Although, in Europe, later, January 2002, neither Game Boy Advance game was released in Japan until Game Boy Wars Advance 1 and 2 compilation was released on November 25th, 2004. Advance Wars is the first game in Advance Wars series on video games, followed by Advance Wars 2 Black Hole Rising, and then Advance Wars Dual Strike, and a game in its own series, Advance Wars Days of Ruin. I will be doing a review of all of these games separately, but they do follow in a series. Advance Wars Days of Ruin is separate in its own series because it deters from the series main plot line and goes off and starts a new series with new characters. Same type of game, just completely new story. The plot of Advance Wars is that Advance Wars campaign begins with the nation of the Orange Star in war against its neighboring country of Blue Moon. As a tactical advisor for Orange Star, the player follows the war effort through all four countries over the course of the game. In the end, it is revealed that, not giving away the ending, but there is a serious cliffhanger and plot line that's going nuts. So that's pretty much the plot. You go through these four countries, you attack people, you fight wars, battles against different COs. The objective is to defeat the enemy army, as you can presently see here. There are two ways you can actually defeat this army. You can defeat an opponent by destroying every one of his enemies on the map, or capture his headquarters. You can capture headquarters via your infantry units or mech units, which are infantry units with bazookas, and capturing takes 10, which is the equivalent of your infantry unit or mech unit's health. If your unit is at 10, you can capture for 10. If it's at 9, you can capture for 9. A certain CO has a special ability that allows her to capture 5+ quicker. This can come in handy when you're in significant heavy battles on the warfront. Some maps have specific objectives though, such as capturing a certain amount of cities to claim victory. The available game modes of play include Campaign Mode, which carries the game's storyline, as well as War Room, as you saw earlier, which is a collection of different maps where you strive to defeat a much more exceedingly difficult commanding officer, rather than gradual difficulty, the difficulty starting at easy and ramping up to much harder as you get progressing in the campaign mode. The battle system is quite unique, as it is a turn-based battle system with, you know, kind of like Red Alert style attack, except with turns. The review I saw on it when it first originally came out was that someone equated it to chess meets Red Alert, and I couldn't agree more. It is a rock, paper, scissors battle of chess meets Red Alert meets RPG meets strategy meets tactics meets everything a tactician could love. 2 to 4 armies can be played at one time, each headed by a commanding officer, who takes turns building and commanding units on a grid-based map. You cannot build buildings, you can only take them over. Certain buildings, such as factories, capitals, and airports and seaports, do different things rather than just sit there and give you money as if cities would. Also, any building that you have captured will give you 1,000 credits capital, as well as heal your units by 2 every time you put them on there. The terrain really does affect how you play in this game. Mountains are a great defensive overlooking position and will significantly reduce your damage if you are being attacked or going off the offense. If you hide in the cover of trees, also your defense will rise and you will take much less damage as you have the trees for cover. However, if you do combat someone on the open field or on a road, you can expect to take significantly more damage than you would if you were in an up-armored city or at the capital. There are 18 different types of military units in Advanced Wars. Each unit has a set amount of attack power, vision range in the Fog of War mode, movement range and type, and fuel supply, and some units have 2 weapons which can be used by different types of enemies, such as a bomber or a battle cruiser who has an anti-aircraft gun as well as anti-submarine missiles. Each unit is specific to how much fuel it actually takes, and depending on if you run out of fuel depends on what happens to that unit. Your ship may sink or be cast away adrift in the sea. Your ships, or not ships, but your planes may fall to the ground, blowing up, while your infantry units may not be able to move any longer. Multiplayer mode can be competed against the AI, where 4 players can gather around one Game Boy and verse one enemy CO, or up to 4 enemies, or 3 enemy COs, as you would verse them, and any mix and match of that variant. Each player can pass around the Game Boy and play together, or you can use up to 4 link cables and verse each other individually. Either way, multiplayer mode is still available on this very early release. Commanding officers are very different. Each commanding officer, as I mentioned before with Sammy and the capturing of buildings, allow for a different power. Some commanding officers are exceptionally skilled with certain troops, such as Grit with the long-range artillery and rockets, while some blunder using these long-range rockets and artillery. Max is one of those. Max's brute force and firepower allows him to take medium takes and topple over enemies like they are nothing with a 50% bonus. With max power activated, he gains a 200% bonus attack power and can almost destroy anything in one hit. However, if he was to use artillery, he would gain an exceedingly damaging attack against himself, losing 50% of his attack damage as well as 50% of his range. A very crippling style of CO. However, it is all dependent on how you play the game. If you enjoy running over your enemy with brute force, that's a way you can play, or you can play tactically. Olaf, as you can see in this mission, this guy I'm versing is named Olaf, and his commanding officer power is to call in a snowstorm. Snowstorm causes all other units but his to take double the fuel consumption. This may not be too big of a deal, but the snow sticks around for a little while and powers up all of his troops by 10 to 15%. This gives him an advantage in the snowy weather while degrading your unit's movement and doubling its fuel consumption. While not the strongest power, it allows him to move, get out of the way, retreat, and tactically take the advantage if you do not have your power ready. While Andy, a counterpart of his, has the ability to use something called Hyper Repair, where he instantly heals all his units via 3 HP, steadily increasing their units by 3 HP and strengthening them all by 10%. While Andy and Olaf are average all-round COs, there are other COs, as I mentioned before, like Grit and Max, who blunder at using long-range attack and physical attack power. It all depends on your style, guys. Which one do you like? Which one do you want? Each CO is different. One can call a tsunami, while another one can use the same units twice in one turn. Very tactical, very good, very excellent game. Graphically, this game gets an A+. Sound-wise, this game gets a AAA+. Control-wise, there's not much you can mess up on here. It's very easy to adapt and learn. Gameplay value, you'll be replaying this over and over again to get everything you can possibly unlock, as well as just challenging yourself to the war rooms, as well as making maps in the custom battle maps room. Overall, this is a must pick up, and it is significantly cheaper nowadays. If you have not played Advance Wars or had the advantage of playing any of the Advance Wars series, you're really missing out, guys, and you definitely should pick this one up. As a little added bonus, if you happen to have Advance Wars 1 in the slot of Advance Wars 2, or Dual Strike, I should say, and you would be able to unlock a special map variant via having this cartridge inserted while you're playing Dual Strike. Just a nice little advantage that Nintendo incorporated. I'm Protomario, and I'm signing out, and I truly encourage you to pick up this game and try it out, guys. If you haven't played it yet, you're missing out. I'm Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, please thumbs up and subscribe for more great HD game reviews.